for joining me for vlog number 2. Sunday, about 11:30. Time just changed, so my body feels like it's 10:30. Wife and I got up, went out to breakfast, went home, did a little bit of cleaning, and off to play some cards. Gonna run some errands for my wife on the way out. Beautiful day today. It's 58, so a little on the cooler side. We got this big old puffy cloud, so you'll see it on our drive up today to see how it is. So anyways, we're gonna go buy in for 300 at the 2-3 game and see what we can do. So I'll check in with you guys and share some hands, and smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and love your feedback in the comments. So thanks, everyone. What do you guys think of this coronavirus? It's kind of scary, huh? You know, California is one of the leading states, confirmed cases. And I'm supposed to be taking my family on a cruise. That's not going to happen. How are you handling it when you're at the table playing cards? It's like the key factor here is wash your hands. I am taking a break at least every hour from the table and washing my hands. This whole wash your hands for 20 seconds thing, I thought I was good until I tried it and counted. 20 seconds is a long time. You know, I sing the ABCs, but you got to include the part about now I know them and next time will you sing with me to get to 20 seconds. And I still see people leaving the restroom without washing their hands in a card room. How do you people do this? That's disgusting. You touch your junk and you don't wash your hands, and you're going back and touching chips and cards. Disgusting. Just get out. So I'm not afraid to call those people out at the table. I'll sit down and see the guy across from me. I'll say, hey man, next time wash your hands if you don't mind. I think it's gross. So anyways, wash your hands for 20 seconds. I'm in a good mood today. Life's good. Had a big breakfast. Got some cleaning done. It's just a good day. So off to the table we go, and we'll come back with and review some hands. So let's take a look at some of these hands, and I'm going to save the best hand for last. So stay tuned for the monster hand of the night. So in this hand I want to review, I'm sitting on the button and I have King Jack offsuit. Definitely a playable hand. Under the gun one. He's a very aggressive loose player, but because he's opening from an early position, I'm going to put him on Ace King, Ace Queen, King Queen type hand. But this guy is also known for opening pretty big with middle pair. But what's interesting here is under the gun 2 calls, the hijack calls, and the cutoff all call his $20 open. So we got 85 in the pot when it gets around to me on the button. You know, I could put in a squeeze here. I could easily 3-bet it. There's a lot of dead money in the middle. So I'm just going to flat this one, see the flop, and let's see how we can play it out from here. You know, the under the gun 1 player, played a lot of hours with him. I know him well. He's guaranteed to lead out on the flop regardless of what the flop is. So we got 5 players going to the flop. The flop comes out Jack, Deuce, 9 with 2 diamonds. So I'm sitting here with top pair, second kicker. I'm really liking my hand right now. Flush draw on the board, a little bit connected, coordinated with the draw. If I put somebody on Ace 10 or King Queen, then we got a gut shot going here. I don't think anybody in this case is playing Queen 10, but by all means, cutoff could be playing something like Queen 10. As figured, under the gun 1 opens for 6. I guess he's got some fold equity by doing this here. Under the gun 2, the hijack and the cutoff all fold. He's going to lead out with anything right here. Ace, King, King, Queen are possibilities, but more likely pocket 7s, 8s, maybe 10s. So again, a little bit of coordinated board with the 2 diamonds. So I decide here with 207 behind, if I make the call, I really have less than a pot size bet behind on the turn and the river. So I'm just going to opt to put it all in right here and see what I'm up against. So I go ahead and shove right here for 207 behind, and the under the gun 1 player snap folds. So we're going to take this one down. All right, guys, so let's take a look at this next hand. I look down at King Jack offsuit from under the gun. I'm going to open this hand for 13. This is a little bit on the small side. This table usually opens for anywhere from 16 to 21, but I think this is a good sizing given my holding. I've seen this hand a lot in this game today, so I'm just going to go with it. Under the gun 1 makes the call. Middle position, cutoff, and the small blind all make the call for 13. So we're going to go 5 ways to the flop with 67 in the pot. Flop comes down King 7-5 with 2 spades on the board. I have to be a little bit cognizant of a possible flush draw that somebody may have flopped. I'm going to size up a little bit and lead out for $55 on this one. Only the under the gun 1 player makes the call for 55. This player was up and down all day. His stack would run up to 1,200. It would drop down to 500. He was all over the place. He was calling every
pre-flop raise, and he was calling most flop bets. And when he'd go to showdown, he really wasn't showing anything too tremendously good. So I'm not too worried about anything other than the flush draw, possibly king queen, or maybe an ace X of spades right now. So we go to the turn. Turn comes down 10 of hearts. So I'm going to continue my line here with my top pair with a decent kicker, and I'm going to make it 125. The under the gun one player, he thinks about it for just a little bit, maybe 30 seconds, and then he goes and puts in the call. Being that he put some thought in this, I'm potentially thinking the king, queen of spades with the flush draw. I hold the jack, so I block some straight draws, so I'm not too worried about gut shot in this case, or even open-ended. So the river comes down a jack of clubs, which looks like a dream card, giving me top two. I'm sitting in a pretty good spot, and I'm going to continue with my king now that I have two pair, and I'm going to lead out for 150 here. The under the gun one player, he puts a lot of thought into this. He thinks for so long that a player that's not in the hand decides to call a clock on him. So after about 3.5 minutes of thinking, he does put in the call for 150, and I immediately turn over my top two. He doesn't show us his cards, and he throws them in the muck, and we're going to take this one down. About a half hour later, I asked him if he recalled the hand and what he had, and all he said is, whatever I had didn't come to fruition, but I don't really remember what I had. Now, this comment doesn't make a lot of sense because he called us for 150 on the river. So I'm putting him on king-queen. That's what I'm thinking he had here. But anyways, happy to take this one down This is the Ventura Pier. This is right down the street from where I play. Just in case you wanted to know. All right, guys, let's take a look at another hand. So here I wake up with pocket sixes in the hijack. The action opens with the middle position betting out 15. So this is a pretty small open, given this table that most of the opens have been 16 to 21. So maybe in line, but a little bit on the small side. So I go ahead and make the call from the hijack. The button, small blind, big blind, all make the call. So we're going to go 5 ways to a $70 pot here, and the flop comes down 10, 5, deuce with 2 spades on the board. After the action checks around to me, put out a bet of 55, about 3/4 of this pot, thinking I'm going to make anybody pay for the flush draw. Unlikely that anybody has a 10 in their hand, given that the action checked all the way through. Potentially some holdings with overcards. So I think this bigger size bet is going to get overcards off their hands. They're going to fold. Flush draws are probably going to continue, and maybe someone with a 10x weak kicker may continue in this spot. So after I make my bet of 55, only the small blind is going to make the call. Heads up to the turn with $180 in the pot, and the turn comes down jack of clubs. So this doesn't improve our hand whatsoever. So I'm pretty happy after the small blind checks. I'm happy to just check back and go and see a free river card. So the river comes down a king of diamonds. We're still heads up here with the small blind. I'm thinking if he bets here, I'm just going to have to put in the fold because, like I said, maybe 2 overcards if he'd hung around, or a flush draw. I'm really thinking he's got a broken flush draw here, or possibly maybe 2 overs, or again, a 10x with a low kicker. So I'm pretty happy when the small blind decides to check here. I'm happy to check back and turn over my pocket sixes. He shows us ace deuce with the ace of spades. So he actually had bottom pair. So we're happy to take this one down with our pocket sixes. Well, leaving the card room, played for 2 hours and 17 minutes, and didn't do so bad. We booked a win of 1940. Yeah, not bad for 2 hours and 17 minutes worth of play. The big hand of note was, oh man, it was crazy. Middle position opens for 35. Cutoff calls the 35. I'm on the button with pocket 10s, red 10s, and I bump it up to 100. The table's been pretty active. The guy to my left in the small blind, he was calling everything. I figured he would have called this one, but he didn't. So it folds back around to middle position, who 4-bets it to 200. Gentleman to my right in the cutoff calls. So I flat call with my pocket 10s. Kind of I probably should have folded, to be honest. But the player in middle position is a gal. She actually works here as a chip runner. When she put in the 4-bet to 200, I put her on a monster. I mean, really aces, kings, queens, a pair of some sort, not ace, king, ace, queen. She won't play that on a 4-bet. And usually when she 4-bets, it's queens. It seems like every time it's queens. Aces, kings, or queens in this case. I'm just praying for a 10 on the flop. I have no idea what the guy to the right of me has. So the flop comes down, queen, 10, like. So she leads out
all in for 600 and change. So my heart's racing. I put her on queens. I thought, you know, if I'm set over set, I'm just going to lose. The player to my right calls, and a little over 300. So of course I call, and he couldn't believe it. The run out is good, blank blank. The gentleman to the right, ace king of hearts. There were 2 diamonds on the flop, but he was going for a Broadway draw, ace king queen 10. So he was looking for a gut shot for 300 bucks. I don't know, 2 overs and a gut shot. She turned over pocket jacks. She didn't even have an overpair on the flop, now that I think about it, and she let out all in. Good day. Good day.